Hi, my name is Miranda Anderson. I'm 17 years old. I play hockey for the Everett Silvertips, and I live here in Langley, BC. A few of my favorite hobbies and activities are probably I like to go golfing, or in my spare time hang out with friends, be social. I also work at Arts Nursery. When I first got diagnosed, I was kind of just hanging around the house and doing my normal stuff, going to school, all that. And it was around my birthday, and I would be drinking so much water, and I'd have to go pee every like 20 minutes. So that's kind of one of the major symptoms. And then a couple days later, actually 2 days after my birthday, I felt sick in the morning and I was throwing up, and I was still peeing a lot and drinking so much. My throat always felt dry. So my dad told me to go in the car and we're going to the clinic, and went there and they tested me for type 1 diabetes, and that's how I found out there at the clinic, and they told us to go forth to Children's Hospital. I had no idea what diabetes was. So basically it's your pancreas, an organ in your body. For normal people it works and produces insulin to keep your glucose levels in your body stable, but for mine it doesn't work, so I have to be on an insulin pump to keep my blood sugar stable. So a normal range in normal people, that would be your ideal blood glucose level, so you can stay at a healthy living lifestyle. Doctors kind of suggest in between 4 and 7-ish, 4 and 6. So when I was diagnosed, I don't remember exactly what I think it was around 35 or 40, so which is super high and really hard on your organs. I was young, so I didn't really process everything. My parents kind of did all that, and they kind of taught me the process after that.
When Dylan was first diagnosed with diabetes, it was very scary. Scary for everybody, scary for the whole family, scary for Dylan. It was a big change for everybody. First 6 months were probably the hardest, just to adjust and learn the carb counting, learn how to administer insulin.
My first memory is I wasn't a huge fan of needles. They're not my biggest fear, but I can handle them, so it was hard to manage at the start, but it just went uphill from there. My biggest lifestyle change probably having to change my routine every morning and night, checking my blood sugar, fingers. Every 3 days or so I have to change my site, which is it's like a little sticker, it's on my backside, which administers my insulin from my pump. I have to count, so carbohydrates are kind of what throws your blood sugar up and down, and I have a bunch of ratios inside my pump, which tells me how much insulin I get for how much carbohydrates I eat. So I have to basically count all the carbs that are in each meal and put it into my pump, and it just administers the insulin.
We were very fortunate because Dylan is a smart young man, and in saying that, he is very good at math, which was very helpful because he's very quick at counting his carbs and knowing how much insulin to give or how to bolus for whatever he's eating. So he's definitely struggled, and that has been very difficult to watch, and those were in the earlier years.
The scariest thing that has probably happened to me throughout my 8.5 years of having diabetes, probably 3 or 4, maybe 5 years ago. I was sleeping, it was probably 3 or 4 in the morning, and I
had a hockey game. We had come home, and because we were still using the injection pens, he has the insulin in and it's working, and he had come home and he wasn't hungry for whatever reason, so he didn't have a snack before going to bed. And what happened then is with the activity still in his system and not having a snack, his blood sugar went quite low and he had a seizure.
I don't remember a whole lot, but I know that I banged my head on my bunk bed when I had a seizure. After that, came to my parents' room, I couldn't speak any words, actually.
I had heard some banging in his room because I am a light sleeper. So I was getting out of bed, and as I was getting out of bed, Dylan and I kind of met at my bedroom door, and I could see that something was wrong. He was not able to speak. His hands were frozen. It was quite scary.
I was just murmuring. I knew how to speak, but I couldn't. Every time my blood sugar goes low, I usually have just a juice box And we had that, and I was still kind of out of it. I couldn't speak.
He called his endocrinologist and called 911. Of course you feel very vulnerable because you want to do everything you can for your child to make sure they're safe, and we didn't know what to do, how to do it. Luckily,
they told my parents to give me a glass of milk because they mentioned that my hand was stuck. So I had the glass of milk, and within 5 or 10 minutes I started to regain control of my hand. I'm not sure how, but it worked.
Moving past Dylan's seizure was difficult because he refused to sleep in his bed. He was afraid that it would happen again. So Dylan actually slept at the foot of our bed for a good month until we sold his bed, purchased a new bed, and he was comfortable to go back into his room.
I do think everything does happen for a reason. I mean, it kind of shapes you into the person who you are, and it's taught me that everything is beatable. It gives you a lot of challenges through life, and you have to battle through adversity. You can't take any days off. I mean, I have this book called From Max Domi. He's also a type 1 diabetic player in the NHL. The title of his book is No Days Off, and living life as a diabetic, you have to monitor everything.
Diabetes is a 24/7 disease, something that you always have to monitor. However, it does get easier. Technology is getting better. There's always research being done, and they say that in Dylan's lifetime there should be a cure. Since Dylan's first diagnosis, from the age of 9 till now when he's 17, he, I think himself, has grown tremendously. He's become stronger. I feel more at ease knowing how well he takes care of himself.
My biggest support is probably my mom. She's always been there for me, always supported me through this, and she's such a strong woman, and I know that I can do it for her, and she always wants to see me succeed. That's what I do it for.
To any parent that has a newly diagnosed son or daughter with type 1 diabetes, I highly recommend getting as much knowledge as you can, gathering a team being your family, your friends. The more people that are aware of type 1 diabetes and its side effects, the better everyone will be in the long run.
What I would tell someone who's just being diagnosed, or my previous self, is that it's gonna suck the first few months or weeks. Everything's gonna work out in the end, and it's just another speed bump in the road in life you have to get through. I think diabetes has shaped me into someone who can live life to the fullest even with a chronic disease, and that it doesn't give me an identity of who I am, and it's not like, oh, he's a diabetic, he's different from us. It's not that. I'm mostly normal. I live life like everyone else and have a job and play sports, and there's nothing out of the ordinary from what I look like everyone else.